Yes, how good does it feel to finally come out of the worst reading slump you've ever had? What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'll be wrapping up a week I feel pretty relieved about, really, where I came out of my worst reading slump ever. It lasted for a whole month, and I don't want to experience that again. I'll be updating you on what happened mainly this week, and then I'm touching upon a few things that I was up to during this horrible period of where I didn't read much. There were times where I would sit for up to a half an hour and read some pages and just put the book down. Now, that wasn't for lack of enjoyment of the book I was reading, which took a month to read, by the way. It was my attention span that caused my reading to suffer. The attention span just wasn't there. Mentally fatigued, didn't really have the enthusiasm to jump on camera and do much in the way of content over the last month, and I wasn't in a really good place. But I am feeling a little bit better, and hence this video I'm making today, and I feel better enough to at least continue with the weekly updates moving forward, which is a step in the right direction, and I believe I will be up to full capacity hopefully with the commencement of May. And during the month of May is, of course, Horror Mayhem, which I'm very, very keen about. It'll be the third year I would have participated in it, and I've got a certain list of books there that I'm looking forward to reading during that month. So it's good to feel a little bit better. What I've been up to during that reading slump period, I did pursue other creative avenues, and as a result I've got a little bit of show and tell for you today. So the first thing I want to show you is a little mini magic bookstore, this is called. So kind of like a book nook, but a lot more open, where the sunlight comes in the window during the day and just catches all these details. But check this out, just got to be careful with it. And this took quite a little while to build. So you can see here it's got a mezzanine floor with all sorts of things there. You've got a bookshelf there, you've got a bookshelf on this side, and have a look at the staircase. That was a pain in the ass to do. But then down the bottom here you can see it's a bookstore, and I made my own bulk stacks at the front there, and the steps, and a big bookshelf to the side. Probably the main thing that challenged me with this one, even though it was fun, was just getting those stairs right. It was a real challenge, and a few swear words along the way. But this was something I'm pretty proud of, and it turned out great. And a lot of super glue, and my wife was doing a similar project, and we both suffered from glue stuck to the fingers. I don't know if you've used super glue much, but if you're fiddling around with small pieces and you're gluing things, your finger might glue together or get stuck to something, and it actually hurts, and you've got to peel it off later. So it wasn't pleasant, but the result was good. Another project I did as well, which I finished just last week, was a wooden 3D puzzle, and this was my owl clock. Now this one was a little bit of a pain to put together. You can see there the front clock face does work. Now the mechanics of the clock, which you can see at the back here and all through there, don't work. So things went wrong during the build, and I thought, look, do I pack this in or just press on? And I'm just glad I pressed on, because it looks okay on the surface. You can't see any of the defects from here, and the clock works perfectly fine, which is awesome. Okay, so that's how I occupied my time. I was just at my wit's end with things, just weren't keen on reading, and yeah, the enthusiasm just wasn't there. But I'm pleased to say that today, making this video and having a fair bit to talk about and coming out of my reading slump makes me feel that little bit better, and I feel like more content will be on the way, because I'm actually getting back to my old self, which is always good news. And I believe, I just had to take a little bit of that time away from the channel to recharge the batteries, because I did have a fair bit of burnout there, and I think looking after your mental health is very, very important, and had a bit of support from a couple of key individuals as well, who I touch base with in the BookTube community. So one in particular knows who he is. Thanks, John. for the kind words during that period. And last week was the first piece of content I'd put up in a little while, and I thought it was great. It was a creative project I did where I redesigned and reimagined Stephen King book covers using a bit of AI, and I found it a fantastic exercise. So I shared that with you, with everyone on the video, the thumbnail you can see there, and I thought some of the covers just turned out great. These were some of the covers that I would have on my wish list to own one day. And I just thought it was really good to test AI, because I find the concept of AI intriguing and frightening at the same time with what it's capable of doing. Some of the results early on, before the final product was revealed, there was a bit of touch and go where I typed in some Stephen King elements in my instructions, and it came back showing some really odd images of Stephen King with which were actually frightening, to be honest. But for the most part, the experiment was great. Some of the covers didn't turn out quite the way I wanted them to, but a few of the covers just turned out absolutely spot on, and I enjoyed every moment of the creative process there. I was talking over what I did with the covers with my older brother this week, and he said, he said they were great. Why don't you do the same thing for Lee Child or Dean Koontz? And that just fueled my curiosity as well, because how fun would it be to redesign those particular covers? So that might be something I might share with you in the future. But it was a very good, successful experiment, and took a little bit of time as well. But that was one way I filled in that reading slump as well. So this week I finally finished Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. As I continue my Cosmere journey, I smashed through the last third of the book in no time, and that gave me the indication that I'm out of this reading slump. Finally, I don't want to ever experience it again. It only took me a month to read, but that wasn't for lack of enjoyment of the book. It was my attention span that caused my reading to suffer greatly, and I'm just pleased to have finished it and to continue my Cosmere journey. Would I have enjoyed this book if it was my first Sanderson read? I don't know, but I knew that when I started Way of Kings, if I liked it, I would like everything else he wrote. And having read Mistborn and the associated short texts before cracking open Atlantis, I had a much better appreciation for it than what I would if it was my first Sanderson read. Yeah, it was raw in places because it was his first novel, but the potential was there, and you could see what drove Sanderson to go on and achieve what he has done, which is remarkable. I found the overall premise of the book very fascinating, with the magic system using aeons or glyphs drawn in thin air with light. Very, very fascinating, and what that magic is capable of is absolutely incredible. The characters were great. Brandon Sanderson came through, as he always does, with a great reveal and at the end, and he's definitely left it open for a sequel, because the big bad of the book is still out there and things are not finished yet. I really enjoyed how this version in particular, was the 10th anniversary edition. So at the end, it contained deleted scenes, which were fun to read about. And it was insightful to learn why Sanderson cut those scenes from the book. And it was very, very interesting. And there's also a final page where there's a Cosmere connection, which I won't spoil here. But really, really enjoyed it, and I'm well on my way with my Cosmere journey. I am now getting stuck into Warbreaker at the time of filming this. I've read the prologue, and fascinating magic system again. So hopefully looking at finishing or coming close to finishing Warbreaker by the end of next week, which would be great. And then once that's finished, as you all know, I can't wait to get to Words of Radiance, and in order to do that, there's a little bit to read first before I get there. So after completing Warbreaker, I do have the White Sand graphic novel omnibus on digital, which I'll get stuck into. I'll also be reading the Taldane System essay, the 6th of Dusk, and the Dromenard system essay as well. And then I will be there after Horror Mayhem in May. I plan on starting Words of Radiance in June, which will put me in a very, very good position on my Cosmere journey, so that I can be up to date in December for Book 5 of the Stormlight Archive. So really, really looking forward to that. And just a side note, after finishing Elantris, I read the Emperor's Soul novella, and I thought that was very, very well done. The magic system on forging was fascinating, and where Sanderson gets these ideas from for his magic systems is nothing short of incredible. So, looking forward to reading more Cosmere stuff. Alright, let's talk about what I watched this week, and I decided to revisit 1994's The Stand miniseries. I found it incredible. I haven't seen it in quite a long time, and I was pleased to watch it again, and all those moments in there that I'd forgotten about are awesome. After 30 years, it still stacks up. Gary Sinise was in his prime. He absolutely shines. The whole thing was very watchable again, and it is so much better than that dumpster fire remake of 2020. I just smashed it out in a couple of sittings, and it's made me want to read the book again, so I have to find time down the track to actually read that massive tome once more. Alright, now this next thing I'm going to talk about, it's been dubbed as the greatest fight in cinematic history, and I have to agree. I finally got around to watching Rocky IV, the Ultimate Director's Cut. Sly recut the film from scratch a couple of years ago, and I remember looking for it everywhere to watch it, and it wasn't available at the time, and I ended up forgetting about it until I discovered that it was available for rental on Amazon Prime. So I got my hands on it, proverbial hands on it, and sat down and watched it when everyone was in bed, because I knew that the experience of watching this with the extra content was going to be an emotional experience, and I wasn't wrong. So yeah, he cut it from scratch, and it felt like seeing the movie for the first time, even though I had watched it countless times as a kid, and I know every line backwards. And what I love about it was there was all new, never before seen footage, and more fresh dialogue, and other dialogue that got cut out, which I think was very justified to make everything cleaner. There were very smart placement of key moments throughout the movie, so they've been positioned in different spots, which I found really, really worked for the movie. And things are in a little bit of a different order, which worked very, very well. An obvious thing that I noticed about the film, particularly when Rocky was training in Russia, was the colours. There's obviously been filters applied, which makes the colours more vibrant, which was great. And I have to say this, it's a mild spoiler, okay, but I have to gush about this part. There are extra punches in the end scenes of the final fight, and some of the blows that Drago lands on Rocky, when they hit, they've changed the sound. Some of those hits sound like bombs going off, and I remember saying it loud, "Oh my effing god, what?" So that's a mild spoiler there, but I had to share that because it was just, I got chills. There's more dialogue from Drago in the movie, which is very, very refreshing. There's a great opening to the movie. It's not how it was when it was released theatrically and on VHS. It's completely different. So I won't go into that. I won't spoil that, but it's just crafted a little bit differently. And there is a few scenes that got cut completely, which I was very, very happy with, which I won't reveal. You'll have to just see that for yourself. So a lot of rubbish was removed from it. There was a key scene that was expanded upon, and it had me quietly sobbing to myself, hitching and sobbing because of the impact that scene has on you. And it's not quite the same with the original one. It's very, very short, this particular scene, and now it goes for an extra few minutes, which is key to invoking that emotional response from you, which the movie did. Now, if you're a Rocky fan and haven't seen this yet, I implore you to, because it was an incredible experience. It's very, very tight. It's cut to an hour and 30 minutes, which is very, very good. And just there's different angles of the punches in the end fight as well, which is really, really good. I think Sly did a great job with it, and I'm very, very happy to have watched it, and I think I'll go back and watch it again, because it's like a whole new movie. And if you're a Rocky fan and you haven't seen this yet, just go and get it and watch it. I thoroughly recommend it. It was incredible. One of the best things I've seen in a long time. And being the biggest fight in cinema, or the best fight in cinematic history, is a bold claim, but I think it's an accurate one, and I agree with it 100%. There's nothing else that comes close, really, in my opinion. Alright, so there you go, guys. Next weekend, as I said, I hope to be finished with Warbreaker, and then I'll smash out what needs to be read before diving into Words of Radiance in June. I will be doing Horror Mayhem, which I might release a reading possibility video very, very shortly. Looking forward to that. And just tracking well in my Cosmere journey and out of that reading slump, which I'm more than happy about. So thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bear with me a little bit longer. Have a bit of patience with me so that I can get fully up to speed, and I hope to do that very, very soon, and more content will be on the way. So until next time, guys, happy reading.